Happy Wednesday, everyone. Little song to start, get us in the mood. Like a real radio show, isn't it? A really shit radio show. How are you? Hello, Michigan. Hello. New Jersey. Here they come. All the Americans. Hello, welcome. Oh, Sweden. Hi from Philly. Adios, amigo. California, Southern California. Anyway, hi from Dallas. What is it with Scousers and loss? Someone says. That's referring to the song, The Lars, from Liverpool. Right, as usual, I ask for questions. Listen, sorry if I don't get to your question. I get so many. It helps with the hashtag Ricky's Bollocks. Oh, God. This is just like Radio 4, isn't it? Please call in with your thoughts, today's news. Hashtag Ricky's Bollocks. No sport. But I put a thing up, like, sometime in the afternoon, questions, and I get so many, and I get half a dozen to keep me going, and then I delete it, so other people don't think they can get a question, but then people leave things, you know, all the way through the day, even the week. But I try and keep it fair, and I try and give everyone a question. But anyway, you'll appreciate. Cats and dogs go first. Right, here we go. Thanks for tuning in. Karen, you've said before that you prefer doing interviews on Zoom rather than having to go out to do them. I do, yeah. To get dressed, put on trousers, get in a car. Do you think that lockdown will have a lasting effect on promotional activities? Yeah, I think it will. Well, I think people could see it sort of work. So I know it, you know, it's not, in many cases, it's not as good. It's not as good doing an interview over the phone as it is going into a radio station. You know, it is harder. There's more room for misunderstanding. You're surprised how you sort of illustrate your answers with gesticulation and face movement. You know what I mean? So it's not as good. But I think it's going to sort of change everything. People are going to be a little bit more wary. It's gone on too long. I mean, I think for the foreseeable future, I mean, even my gigs, I keep asking about the gigs. You know, I had a month at London Palladium, and you know, when this went into lockdown, that seemed like a lifetime away. But it's October, and it's not going to happen, you know. And we don't even know where to put them next year. I'm filming Afterlife, so this year might happen a year later. So just to warn you, and it's frustrating for me. And the material will seem old as well. I'll have to update it. So I'll probably be doing my gigs in a year's time for Supernature. But, you know, they won't be cancelled at least. They'll be postponed. So bear with me. I know it's a shame, but believe it or not, there are more important things than my gigs. But it's annoying. I think I'll start off with the first 20 minutes of me ranting about eating bats. I'll be furious. This pandemic postponed my material. So yeah, I think I probably did more interviews because I could do it on Zoom, sitting here. Maybe this will be my job soon. You know, my tour will be postponed for a year. What if you know the filming is postponed? This will be my job. Do 2 of these a week. Get it sponsored. Be alright, wouldn't it? Half hour. This is as good as end this shit on telly. I mean, at least I know this is Shite. Tea Kettle says, did you ever get your tooth fixed that was bothering you at the beginning of lockdown? Actually, it had been bothering me for a year at the beginning of lockdown, and it kept coming back. Yeah, I had to a crown. I had to have root canal work. It was horrible. Well, it was alright. They pumped me full of drugs. If I felt the slightest thing, I went more like that. And so I couldn't feel a thing. But yeah, they um, cut the nerve out, the inflamed nerve. They got rid of the fucking nerve in the, I think there were 3 or 4 prongs in the tooth. Filled it with something. He said it was like rubber. Then I had to go back and they shaped it. It's hard shaping my fucking teeth to fit. It's like fucking Tetris. And then they put on a nice, lovely tooth. So yeah, and the infection. The reason it was hurting was it was like an infection, and it was eating into the jaw. The infections. That's why it's so fucking painful. But I didn't moan. Yeah. He was all in. It was like being operated on a fucking spaceman probing me. But yeah, thank you. It's good. In the end, you know what? I'm glad I went and got it seen too. Now I think I've got a fucking bunion. Something wrong with my toe. It hurts. I should write one of those, like the Victorian sort of journals, the early medical things. I should write one of those. All the, just those sketches of me, all the things wrong with me. About 30 pages it'll be. Daniel says, can you remember the first ridiculously expensive item you bought yourself after the success of The Office? Did you feel guilty? Yeah, I did. I mean, even though I'd shop for things I could afford, but I still only buy the things I could have afforded anyway. It's still ridiculous to me. Like I'll be sort of fucking, I need a T-shirt in New York or LA, and I'll get 300 quid for a T-shirt. You're fucking mental. Are you mental? No, I'm not gonna fucking spend 300 quid on a T-shirt because it's by some twat I've never heard of. No, no, I'm not. No, you can get good T-shirts for 25 quid. Like ethical, not made in sweatshops. They fucking last. They're fine, right? You don't need to spend. Oh, and look at me. I've probably had, without looking, I reckon I've had this T-shirt for 10 years. It's fine. It's probably Marks and Spencers or something. But I remember that I did. I remember. I think it's the having the suit made for the first time in my life, and it was fine. But I'll be honest. I can't really tell the difference between a made-to-measure designer suit and one off the peg that fits me. As I said before, I look like a bag of shit in anything. So there's no point me spending £5 to look like a bag of shit, where I can spend 50 quid and look like a bag of shit. So, Rupert, here he is. Rupert, the fattest, shortest legged Jack Russell in the world. Seeing as though you are familiar with the Muppets, having been in a film with them, you have to live your life as a Muppet. Which one do you feel would suit your personality? Tricky, isn't it? Because you've got sort of loads of personalities, haven't you? Have you? Any psychiatrists listening? No, I haven't. Yes, you have. Fucking haven't. I mean, I love the sweet ones like Robin. I think Constantine is my favourite now. Never met him before. Met him. You know what I mean? I never. He was new to the Muppet family, an evil Russian frog. I like him. I like his attitude. He says what's on his mind. I did the junkets with him, and usually they're awful junkets, but I did it with an evil Russian frog, and he could insult the journalist. He'd go, "Get out!" And so I think I'd live as Constantine. He says what he thinks. Um, Joey. Oh no, yeah, cat. The saying "school days are some of the best days of your life." Do you think it's true? Hmm. And did any teachers' subjects at school have an influence on any aspect of your career? Well, okay. First question first. I don't think it is true. I liked school. I loved it, and I love that carefree free thing. And in retrospect, you're worried about things you shouldn't have. And it was fun. It was just fun and learning, mucking about and learning. Brilliant, right? I don't think they're the best days of your life. Depends on how good your life becomes. I think that was like a little saying to keep kids in school who would eventually like leave at 14 and go down the mine and die at 40. So I think that's probably, you know, I think that was a lot truer to the average, working class lad or girl 50 years ago. I think it was probably true. I don't think it's true now. Or it shouldn't be. You shouldn't have the best be like, and then it just gets steadily worse. Uh, but I like the saying. I like it, and if it keeps kids in school, then that's good. Did any teacher subjects at school have an influence on you? Yeah. All the sciences. I mean, that stayed with me. I love science, absolutely. But I think I did before school. And I've told the story before of my English teacher who said, just write about what you know, write about what you've witnessed, write about ordinary things and make them extraordinary. So yeah, Mr. Taylor. So I think that one is always first on my mind. Clever name says, if Joey the cat and Rupert. Now there's questions about fucking Joey and Rupert. If Joey the cat and Rupert the dog each took an intelligence test, which one would score higher? Right. Okay. So I've got to break it to Joey here. In general, I think the dog, on our standards, by our human standards of intelligence, a dog is smarter than a cat. I'm sorry. A cat is basically a bag of instincts. Do you know what I mean? It's fangs and comfort, right? Whereas a dog is a little bit smarter with a bit more emotional intelligence. So I think to keep it fair, it should be like the Krypton factor, where there's an intelligence round, but then there's an agility test. And I think that Rupert would score very well on the intelligence test. He'd get 9 out of 10. And Joey would get 4 because he's a cat. But on the agility test, Joey would get 10 and Rupert would get 1. So overall, oh God. Orla says, I know you said you won't bring back Derek, but do you ever think that in the future you could do a special where Derek and crew would be the old people in the old people's home? That's a nice idea. That's really sweet. Um, I don't think I would, because I'd be old enough to be in an old people's home, wouldn't I? So I'd be even lazier than I am now. But I do think about Derek a lot. Uh, yeah, he's one of my favourite characters I've ever created. Um, but I do like it being complete. Um, but yeah, it's a nice idea. Rosie, oh here we go. Now it's getting tricky here. Look. You have to choose one only. Cats or dogs? God, this is controversial, isn't it? Shouldn't be. I should be free to answer this, but you know my demographic. Fucking hell. Which do you choose and why? Okay, right. Here we go, right? I think all animals, are, joking aside, are unconditionally beautiful and perfect. They just are. Whatever they do, whatever they're meant to do, they do it. And they're perfectly evolved, equally and perfectly evolved. They have levels of intelligence, again, by but there are things that don't need that. They're fantastic. Obviously, we should only really talk about keeping pets, domesticated animals. I'm I'm uh, I'm avoiding the question. Listen, you know what I think of both of them. Dogs are amazing. Um, Cats are incredible. Okay, if I had to choose one, and this is circumstance, I can't choose one to exist, because that I couldn't. They're equally perfect, and I love them equally. But if I had to choose one to have, I think I'll have to go with a cat, because a dog, because I travel too much on tour, and I think you can leave a cat with a cat sitter in the house and it goes, yeah, whatever. Whereas a dog, I can't stand that moment where the dog goes, where are you going? And I'm just going on. I go, what have I done? I haven't done anything. What is it? The smell? No, 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 no. I love the smell. Right. Okay. And then they come back. My dog, when I was a kid, I used to go on holiday with my mum. Come back, and the dog would pretend to be limping. We took him to the vet the first couple of times. He went, it's fine. Just because it was trying to go, please don't ever leave me again. So I just on that basis, on what one I have to keep, own, I'll choose cats, but dogs are equally amazing. Cool, that was tricky, wasn't it? Here we go. Manipulation says, would you rather be covered in fur or scales? Well, obviously, the first thought is fur. It'd be lovely, wouldn't it? It'd be lovely to be covered in fur. Like a cat, just perfect. Just a few gaps. Couple there, one at the back, right? Brilliant. But then, if you're a human and you're covered in fur, people will go, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It's not like people go, oh, look, it's furry boy. You get put in a fucking circus. What is this? 1890. Do you know what I mean? It's not like the idea of looking like an animal is beautiful on an animal, but on a person, you go, ugh! Do you know what I mean? Also, practically, I mean, how many times do I have to wash? Things get fucking stuck in it. I mean, it looks beautiful when it's all fluffed up, but it might be scales. I mean, what are the scales? Do I look like a fucking fish? Or are they like cool, bony scales, like the Thing? Or, sort of armor plates, like a prehistoric lizard. It's like me. Oh, you see, I look like a Marvel hero. or are they like gudging things like that? That's like gills. In which case, fuck that. If it's, I mean, fur's lovely, right? We are covered in fur, aren't we? I suppose we're covered in little down. But if I can be me, but like, just like patterns look like a tattoo all over, and they're sort of armor plated, I'll choose that. Why do I take these questions so fucking seriously? It's because I've seen the monkey's paw. Do you know that? That thing, that whatever you ask for, there's a fucking trick to it. Oh, I wanna. It's like, well, I saw one, right? It was like 1,000 expected, and the couple will get the monkey's paw. They go, I've got 3 wishes, right? And they go, oh, I wish we had £100,000, right? They get a phone call. Their son's been killed in a car accident, and then they look at the insurance, and it's £100,000. They go, oh no, right? And they've got 2 more wishes, and they go, I wish he was back with us, alive again. There's a knock at the door, and he's there. Oh, the car accident, all smashed up, and going, "Aah!" And they get the monkey's paw, and I go, I wish he was back just before he had like he was just before the car accident. And it turns out he'd had a heart attack before the car accident, so he was there going, Aah! So that's why I really look into these questions. So oh dear. Matt Kazoom says, did you ever laugh out loud when you were writing one of your jokes? Oh yeah. Yeah. If I think this, oh my God. It's just like finding something, isn't it? It comes in your head. It's like finding a fucking diamond. You go, oh, and you got it. And you laugh because you're excited about telling it. All these things, you're like, oh my God, that could. And then you hone it and go, oh, am I brave enough? Will that be taken the wrong way? Or what's that? So, yeah, you laugh from excitement, not just because you haven't heard it before. You sort of, yes, definitely. And I get emotional if I'm doing a really, really sad bit, if it's good, particularly if I'm writing it on a plane at 30,000 feet, drinking free champagne. That kicks in. That's good questions, aren't they, this week? Andrea says, did you always want to be a screenwriter and to star in those shows? Do you have a particular scene or line that you're most proud of? I didn't always want to be a screenwriter. I dabbled like everyone at school. I wanted to be doing something artistic. I didn't think of being an actor till I sort of nearly was one. I came up with the idea. It all came as one performing, sort of doing it with a bit of stand-up or being on the radio. So then it was in my head that I should do it as well as write it. I was always prouder of the writing than doing it. And everything else was to protect the writing, you know. Being in it, I came up with stuff that I could do well. I directed it to protect the writing. I produced it to protect the directing and the writing. But no, I sort of fell into it, really. Do you have a particular scene or line that you're most proud of? Oh, lots of lines stick. I mean, I think there's been a rape up there. I remember being very excited when I came up with that one. Probably the scene in putting down the dog in Derek. That's a hard one to do in one take, and the dog does everything right, and the actors do everything right, and we capture it. So that means nothing to anyone else, but I'm proud of that because it's hard to write and do and capture and come off well. if that makes sense. Right, one more question. Well, this has been an absolute blast. Hello, everyone. Everyone, thank you. Stay well. Everyone's saying where they're from and everything. Either scene kills me every time. Yeah, it's tough to watch, isn't it? Right, final question. This is my question. Oh, Stonewall Rockhaven, the third, if that is your real name. The planet we live on is constantly churning out life in abundance and infinite variety. Do you believe that this is the only planet in the universe to do so? Well, tricky. The quick answer is no, but for these reasons. I don't think it's the only one. But it is amazing that there is life on this planet. The planet has to be a certain size for gravity, made of certain things, a certain distance from its sun, which has to be the right sort of sun. A star, sorry, it has to be like sun-like. Our sun is a good star, because some are fucking ridiculous. And then you have to wait. You know, this Earth is the universe is 13.5 billion years old. The Earth is 4.5 billion. There was nothing for 2 billion. And even the first thing to what you could call life, for 1 billion years, they were fucking blobs of snot. You know what I mean? If you went back, if we sped evolution, you know, the last couple of million have been brilliant. The first billion, fucking bollocks. Fuck all happened. So, 3 billion years of life on this planet, you could, not a lot happened the first billion. But then you realise there are the number of planets, in the universe, are something like, it's a billion. So 10 to the power 27, I think. I mean, that's unfathomable, isn't it? So a billion planets, right? Around billions of fucking stars. Now, the number of planets that you could say are Earth-like, i.e. the right sort of size, made of the right rock, the right distance from a G-type star that's like the sun, that could potentially sustain life, because some are out of the question. Too far away from the sun, fucking minus 200, too close to the sun, too big, gravity, right? There's about 6 billion Earth-type planets. So I think there has to be something. There has to be something. Even if it's, 1 billion years of snot. But they must be varying degrees of that. There must be a few. In 6 billion, there must be. The fact that we'll probably never know, because it's the other side, and we'll never be able to communicate, in our lifetime. And by our lifetime, I mean, while we're still Homo sapiens, we're, will we find intelligent light in 200,000 years? I don't know. But I think it must be, I mean, we're proof that it's possible. We know that. So I think the answer is yes. Whether you'd recognise it as life or care about it, we've done this, haven't we? The most, we might be the most intelligent. The second most intelligent might be a jar of snot somewhere 200 million light years away. We get there, we're already a different species, right? By the time we get there, and we go, this is it, and he goes, yeah. I'd look at it, and I'd come all this way. My family's long dead, and we go in the fucking speed of light, and I look at that, and I go, what, you are the king of this planet, and he goes, yeah, and it's just, I go, fucking hell. I don't know what I'd do. I'd be annoyed, be well pissed off. So I've come across the universe to talk to some snot. Who are you calling snot? Right, that's the end of the show. When it gets to me drinking beer and doing impressions of alien snot, I really think we've run out of things to say. That was fun. I enjoyed that. You know what? I'd be quite happy doing this as my job. If there's no more filming, everything's fucked. No more TV as we know it. No one can ever gig again. I'll just do this. But I'll be happy with doing this. Any companies want to sponsor this, make this my job? BP tuned in just as I went, fuck off. And they go, no, we don't want to sponsor this. Everyone, retweet this to companies. Tell them to, I'll do this for really fucking cheap. Right? Half hour, what's half hour? £5 a time. I'll do this for. Be free for you. You wouldn't even fucking retweet it, let alone get me work. Thank you so much. I did this to keep us all sane, but it's had the opposite effect, hasn't it? Thank you, everyone.